will send your strangers packing, or I will.
You running drugs?
I'd rather die than tell you.
You're already a dead man.
We're in a hole, and so is I.
They want us.
And they're gonna get us.
Thought I'd seen my last firefight.
Dutton Ranch Episode 9 just dropped its trailer, and within seconds, the entire 10-petal ranch was set on fire by one single phone call. By the time the season finale teaser ended, fans already knew that nobody walks out of Rio Paloma the same person they were before. Paramount Plus has officially confirmed that Dutton Ranch Episode 9, titled El Padrino, premieres this Friday, July 3rd, and it's going to close out Season 1 with what looks like the bloodiest hour the Yellowstone universe has produced in years. The title alone, Spanish for The Godfather, tells you everything you need to brace for. After 8 episodes of slow-building tension between the Duttons and the Jackson family, the finale trailer confirms that South Texas is about to erupt into full-blown warfare, and almost every major character is being pulled into the blast radius. Rip Wheeler, Beth Dutton, Everett McKinney, Carter, Joaquin, and Rob Will are all shown either grabbing weapons or standing on opposite sides of a fight that has been simmering since Episode 1. This isn't a typical season-ending showdown either. With Paramount Plus having already renewed the show for a second season just over a week before the finale airs, there's real reason to believe this episode is designed to permanently reshape who holds power on this ranch, and who doesn't survive long enough to see it. To understand why this finale carries so much weight, you have to go back to what happened in Episode 8, which aired June 26th and changed the entire emotional landscape of the show. Beulah Jackson, played by Annette Bening, had just suffered a serious heart attack, and for a moment, it looked like the matriarch who has run 10-petal ranch with an iron fist for decades might actually be gone. She survived, but the scare softened something in her. In the hospital waiting room, Everett McKinney, the Navy veteran played by Ed Harris, finally opened up emotionally and offered Beulah something she has clearly wanted for a long time: a quiet life away from the cattle empire, away from the violence, and away from the family drama that has consumed her entire existence. For a brief moment, it felt like Beulah Jackson might actually choose peace over power. But peace was never going to last on this ranch, because Beulah had already made a decision that lit a fuse nobody can put out. Despite previously promising her son Joaquin that he would eventually take over 10-petal ranch, Beulah named her younger son Rob Will, played by Jai Courtney, as her successor instead. What most viewers didn't initially realize is that Rob Will essentially forced her hand, threatening Joaquin's life if she didn't hand him the reins. Joaquin has no idea that's the real reason behind his mother's decision, and that misunderstanding alone is enough to tear this family apart from the inside. Rob Will, who has a documented drug problem and a documented temper, wasted no time asserting control once the title was his, immediately making it clear he intends to fire Beth and Rip, the two outsiders Beulah brought in and has continued to defend despite her son's objections. What makes this finale especially dangerous is that Beulah, even while physically weakened from her heart attack, is refusing to walk back her decision. She knows exactly what kind of danger Rob Will represents, not just to the ranch, but to everyone around him, and yet she is standing by her choice. The only people she says she trusts right now are Beth and Rip, the very two people Rob Will wants gone. That trust is about to be tested in a way Beulah never saw coming, because in the closing minutes of Episode 8, ranch hand Austin Lewis finally broke his silence after growing suspicious for weeks. Austin revealed to Beth and Rip that 10-Petal Ranch has been running an illegal cattle smuggling operation out of Mexico, using counterfeit documentation to move cattle across the border. He also confirmed what fans had been speculating since the season premiere, that ranch hand Wes was murdered by Rob Will because Wes knew too much about the operation and was getting close to exposing it. That single confession changes everything about how Beth and Rip view the Jackson family. It also retroactively explains why the foot-and-mouth disease outbreak hit the Jackson cattle herd so devastatingly hard earlier in the season, since smuggled livestock crossing the border without proper inspection would have been a direct pathway for contamination. Beth Dutton, the financier and master manipulator that she is, now has hard evidence of a federal crime happening on the ranch she works for, and Rip Wheeler, the man who has spent his entire life enforcing loyalty with violence when necessary, now has a personal motive tied directly to protecting the family he and Beth built in Texas. Meanwhile, Joaquin, frustrated that Sheriff Wade refuses to investigate Rob Will for Wes's murder without a body, made a desperate decision in the final scene of Episode 8. Standing alone, visibly shaking with rage, Joaquin pulled out a flip phone and called a number connected to a man named Mariano, a name that hasn't meant much to casual viewers until now, but means everything to anyone who has been paying close attention. Mariano's identity is the single biggest reveal hanging over this entire finale, And once you understand who he actually is, the title El Padrino stops feeling like a stylistic choice and starts feeling like a warning. Flashback sequences earlier in the season established that Mariano was once a ranch hand at 10 Pedal who saved a young Beulah Jackson after she survived a sexual assault, and that moment forged a bond between them that has clearly never been severed, no matter how many decades have passed. Mariano is also revealed to be Joaquin's biological father, which means the son who has spent his entire life believing his birth parents simply couldn't raise him is now placing a desperate phone call to a man tied directly to organized crime in Mexico. Beulah has always told people that Joaquin's parents lacked the means to raise him, which is why she stepped in and adopted him as her own. But that explanation is starting to look like a convenient cover story for something far darker, possibly even a debt connected to a crime Beulah herself committed years ago, one that Mariano may have quietly taken the blame for in order to protect her. Whether Joaquin was adopted out of genuine love or as a form of repayment for a sin buried decades in the past is exactly the kind of question this finale appears built to answer, and the timing could not be worse for Beulah, who is already weakened physically and emotionally exposed after her heart attack. The trailer itself confirms that Mariano isn't just a name from the past anymore, he's a physical threat standing in the present. A previously unseen man, almost certainly Mariano himself, is shown warning Beulah directly that she needs to send her outsiders packing, referring to Beth and Rip, or he'll handle it himself. The implication is unmistakable, and it tells you that whatever loyalty existed between Beulah and Mariano years ago has curdled into something far more transactional and far more dangerous. Rip is shown telling Beth that unnamed forces are coming for them, and Beth's chilling response makes it clear she isn't backing down, she's bracing for impact instead. Elsewhere in the trailer, Everett McKinney, the steady Navy veteran who just promised Beulah a peaceful future, is seen taking up arms again, admitting that his fighting days clearly aren't over after all. That single moment might be the most heartbreaking thread in the entire finale, because Everett spent 8 episodes trying to pull Beulah away from violence, only to be dragged directly back into it the moment real danger arrives at her doorstep. Adding fuel to the fire, the trailer opens with Rip confronting Rob Will directly, throwing a punch that drops him to the ground and leaves him bleeding. Rip accuses Rob Will of running drugs, and Rob Will's response is bone-chilling, essentially daring Rip to kill him rather than admit what he's been doing. That exchange alone signals that Rob Will's drug problem, hinted at throughout the season, is about to become a central plot point in the finale, possibly tying him even more directly into the cartel-adjacent cattle smuggling operation that Austin exposed in Episode 8. Masked men are shown approaching the ranch house in another sequence, while Beth, Rip, Azul, and Zachariah are seen adding bodies to what fans have nicknamed the mineshaft, a section of the property connected to a new train station that has quietly become this season's version of Yellowstone's infamous train station disposal site back in Montana. If Beth and Rip are already burying bodies before the finale even begins, that tells you just how far this conflict has already escalated behind the scenes, and how little mercy either side is planning to show once the shooting actually starts. There's also a quieter but equally devastating thread involving Orina, Rob Will's daughter, who may be on the verge of witnessing something no child should ever have to see. Speculation is building that Orina could end up present when her own father meets a violent end, whether at the hands of Rip, the cartel, or someone else entirely connected to Mariano's operation. If that happens, it would leave Carter, Beth and Rip's adopted son, who has already been dealing with heartbreak after his falling out with Orina, facing an entirely new emotional reality, one that could permanently alter his relationship with the Jackson family moving forward. Every storyline this season has been building toward a moment where loyalty, blood, and survival collide, and the finale trailer makes it brutally clear that almost nobody is walking away clean. With Sheriff Wade still refusing to act without a body to prove Rob Will's guilt in Wes's murder, the law has effectively stepped aside, leaving Beth, Rip, Joaquin, and whatever forces Mariano brings with him to settle this themselves, out in the open, with guns instead of evidence. What makes El Padrino so terrifying as a finale is that it isn't just closing out one storyline, it's colliding nearly every storyline this season has built into a single explosive night. Beulah Jackson stands at the absolute center of it, torn between the peaceful future she just promised Everett and the empire she has spent decades protecting through fear, secrets, and bloodshed. She has survived a heart attack, survived decades of carrying Mariano's shadow over her life, and survived raising a son in Rob Will who may now be the very thing that brings her entire operation crashing down. The question the finale seems determined to answer is whether Beulah still has the strength, physically or emotionally, to hold all of that together, or whether she's finally run out of road. Annette Bening has described Beulah as a woman longing for love while watching everything she built slowly fall apart, and that internal conflict is exactly what's driving this finale toward what looks like an unavoidable reckoning. Beth and Rip's position in all of this cannot be overstated either. They didn't come to Texas looking for another war, they came looking for a fresh start far away from the violence that defined their lives in Montana. But the moment Austin handed them proof of the illegal cattle smuggling operation and Wes's murder, that fresh start effectively ended. Beth Dutton has never been someone who sits on leverage, and Rip Wheeler has never been someone who walks away from a fight once the people he loves are threatened. The trailer's brief glimpse of Rip throwing the first punch at Rob Will suggests that whatever restraint Rip has shown all season is officially gone heading into this finale. At the same time, there's a real possibility that Beth and Rip's own buried history, specifically what happened at their version of the train station, could become a weapon Beulah uses against them if she feels cornered enough. That would create one of the most dangerous standoffs the Yellowstone universe has ever produced, two sides holding secrets capable of destroying each other, both fully aware that using those secrets could cost them everything they fought to build. Then there's Joaquin, whose entire arc this season has been a slow unraveling of identity, loyalty, and betrayal. He was promised the ranch, then watched that promise vanish without explanation. He spent the season uncovering Rob Will's crimes while Sheriff Wade refused to lift a finger, and now he's made a call that could either save everyone or summon something far worse than Rob Will ever was. If Mariano truly does control a cartel-connected operation working out of Mexico, then Joaquin didn't just ask his estranged father for help, he may have opened the door for an entirely new and more dangerous power player to take control of Rio Paloma. That's where the title El Padrino earns its full weight. A godfather figure isn't someone who simply helps you win a fight, he's someone who expects something in return, and given everything we know about Mariano's history with Beulah, whatever he wants in exchange for his help is unlikely to be simple or painless. Rob Will remains the most volatile piece on the board heading into this finale. He's been handed power he was never emotionally equipped to hold, he's hiding a drug addiction that's clearly spiraling, and he's directly responsible for Wes's murder, the very crime that could unravel everything if Joaquin and Rip manage to recover the body before the finale ends. A man backed into that corner doesn't surrender quietly, and the trailer's chaotic gunfire and masked intruders strongly suggest Rob Will isn't planning to go down without dragging as many people into the fire with him as possible. Whether that means a direct confrontation with Rip, a desperate move against his own mother, or something involving Orina that could permanently scar her, the finale appears designed to force Rob Will into a moment where his recklessness finally catches up to him in the worst possible way. What's clear heading into Friday is that Dutton Ranch has spent 9 episodes building toward a finale that refuses to take the easy way out. Every relationship on this show, Beulah and Everett, Beth and Rip, Joaquin and Mariano, Rob Will and the family that enabled him for years, is being tested at the exact same time, and the show's confirmed second season renewal means the writers have no obligation to protect anyone simply because the story isn't finished yet. That should worry fans more than almost anything else, because in the Yellowstone universe, a confirmed renewal has never once meant a character's safety is guaranteed. If anything, it usually means the opposite. The door is open for someone major to be sacrificed in service of an even bigger story next season. So as Friday approaches, the real question isn't just who wins this war between the Duttons and the Jacksons. It's who's even left standing once the smoke clears, and what kind of ranch, and what kind of family, survives long enough to see Season 2. This finale carries the kind of weight that doesn't just close a chapter, it threatens to rewrite the entire future of this story in one single, brutal night. What do you think is really going to happen when El Padrino airs this Friday? Do you think Beulah survives this war with her empire intact, or is this the episode where everything she's built finally collapses? Drop your predictions in the comments below. I genuinely want to know who you think makes it out alive. If this breakdown helped you get ready for the finale, do me a favor and hit that like button, and if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and join the channel so you don't miss the full episode 9 recap the moment it drops. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you right back here for the breakdown.